Okay, greetings Minecrafters. I am here again. My name is Kimberly Quinn with Dr. Tom Myers to discuss
reframing and discussion about how we view the world and how we make sense of that. So I've done, my background is in academic, kind of in the business world, as well as in behavioral sciences. So, and then my research into synchronicity is the area that positive psychology and synchronicity. So that's what I do now, and help individuals and groups kind of find that, along with a strength-based approach to finding fulfillment.
I like that. I like that. Tom and I worked a bunch together also with there's so many of these kind of topics that would be considered well-being topics or positive psychology topics, and the strength scope stuff.
Yeah.
So the reframing is really part of the whole happiness lifestyle, right? Well-being lifestyle, because it is about how we look
at the world and kind of the stories we tell about ourselves and the stories we tell of others. And if you go through the world telling yourself that it is an evil, demonic, negative world, pretty much that's what you're going to see.
You're going to find.
You're going to find that.
You look what you find what you look for.
Exactly. Yeah.
Versus friendly or.
Yeah, if you see that the world is benevolent, and that things are good out there, and for the most part, people are trying to do their best and are good people. And I think if you think that, the kind of some of the pop culture focus of, if you give good, you're gonna get good, right? And you do want to focus and accentuate the positive wherever you can. Of course, we're human beings, and we have, negative feelings, and we get sad and angry and upset about things, but it's how long that can last. That can
right.
It's chronic. When things become chronic, then it can be an issue. But I think that the world is, despite many of the trials and tribulations that we're facing, it's a good world. I think look at the good and you'll see the good.
Absolutely. I'm thinking of reframe, one of my favorite skills, and I like to in the course of Minecraft that I teach, when we talk about reframing with resilience. That's usually the unit we're on, is resilience, right? I like that it's a skill too, Tom, because for me that's empowering. Versus Michael Phelps with the swimming. Not to say he's not also skilled and works hard. I don't mean that, but you couldn't take anybody and make them Michael Phelps, obviously. Or pick a, Mozart or whomever, right? So they've got a combination, but any of us can learn a skill and get better at it.
Yeah.
So we can learn to reframe. We can actually practice it like you practice a violin, right? And get better at it, wouldn't you say?
Yeah, and I love, from an appreciative inquiry standpoint, the statement, words create the worlds we want to create.
Right.
Words that we use, and how do we frame things that can create what we want to see. And I think, when you're around others or in a meeting or in a conference discussion where one person will start to spiral. You see negative,
Yes.
And then all of a sudden it's very easy to pile on. Again, that's what the negative, terrible things of gossip. Because that will just send you down the road. So I just love the idea. Again, it's easier said than done sometimes, but just what's the frame of mind, and again, having a healthy balance in life and healthy well-being that can help with the outlook. They talked about folks in sales and business development that never see, always see an opportunity, always find an opportunity that's there, and are able to, kind of leverage that. Sure, there's a downturn in the economy. Well, there's also an upturn in education. There's an upturn in other industries. People want it. So there's always But there's a downside, there's an upside, and how do you focus on that upside as much as possible?
No, I like that a lot, actually. I was just actually reading the New York Times this morning, said murder rates are down.
Yeah, I saw it.
So I mean, that's definitely something. But what was I just thinking of? In the Happiness Advantage, it's Sean Aker. That's a book I use in Minecraft. And since I'm not looking at it on the exact stats for it, but there was a story in there about this reframe with a person who got shot in a bank, and they were shot in the arm. Okay, and it was about like the counterfacting. So you can be shot in the arm, and be like, oh no, my God, I can't believe this happened to me, blah 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 blah. And the other story was, thank God I wasn't killed.
Yeah.
Thank God I wasn't shot in the head or spine, or so I couldn't walk again or whatever. And you might be like, wow, that's something. But in reality, that's quite something. The person who thinks, oh my God, I got shot, versus, and it also wasn't my kid. It wasn't. There's a lot of things.
Yeah.
What reframe does to us.
And I think I wish I could remember some of the Helen Keller quotes. They talk about a woman who
amazing.
I mean, what the gifts that she did have, and how she looked at reframed it. And I just saw a quote the other day. It was just so wonderful about the gifts that you do have.
Right.
Focusing on those. We should remember that. But one of the favorite things I like to talk about and have used in the past is kind of when you ask someone, are you lucky? Do you feel lucky? And there are people out there, no matter what, they just are at the right place at the right time. Things are, how is that happen? You won again? And so kind of understanding what Dr. Richard Wiseman writes about, called the luck factor. And so he did research early 2000s, and he's a psychologist from the UK. And his question is like, I want to know, why is it that some people are luckier than others? What is that? Is it just by fate, or do you make your own luck?
Don't we all want to know that?
Yeah.
I bet we all know people. Actually, my oldest son is like that.
Yeah.
Steps in it wherever he goes.
My wife will do the same thing. Is that she'll write a ticket for a raffle. He said, I want to make sure I have my phone number on here clearly so you can see. So when you call me,
I love it.
And so she'll put it in the bucket, and the guy will be like, yeah, whatever,
And then they pull her ticket. I love that. So what are you saying about that?
So it's a little bit of the reframing, but Dr. Richard Wiseman, who did this research, looked at a long-term study with participants from 18 to 80 years old, from all racial backgrounds, all walks of life, all socioeconomic levels, right? So a pretty darn good cross-section demographically. And he found there were 4 major tenets or components that everyone shared who said they were lucky. They had these 4. Now, when some people said they felt lucky, they very well could have had a life that's been faced with major disruption. Again, loved ones lost, or facing cancer, so it's not like it's not all right. It's not all rainbows and unicorns. They had some terrible, devastating life events, but they still said they're lucky. So the 4 components, and not in any specific order, but essentially increased chance opportunities. So the more you put yourself out there, it's statistically, it's a numbers game. The more times you enter a lottery, of course, it could happen eventually, right? The more resumes you put out there, the more people you talk to, the more things that you engage in, more comes back, statistically, right?
Makes sense.
The more you engage, the more is going to come back, right? How many times I've talked to folks in business who, met someone on the airplane or the bus that ended up, a pivotal conversation that ended up a pivotal business opportunity. So finding increasing chance opportunities, and when those chance opportunities do come, knowing, this is important.
This is important.
here's
Like
someone
a little
I should,
radar thing.
or I get a good sense I'm going to follow this, right?
Mm-hmm.
Secondly, lucky people say they go into every situation with a positive intention. And this is the reframing piece as well.
Yes.
I'm going in, I'm excited for this interview. I'm excited for this meeting. I'm excited to meet this person. I'm excited for this opportunity. So you project that positive affect. Again, the vibrational approach too, but you're projecting positivity. And we as humans pick up, on these vibrations. We pick up on the emotions, body language, the whole picture of how a person, how a person's affect and their agency. You can sense when someone is up or down.
Right.
So lucky people go into every situation with this positive
intention.
Right?
And positivity is attractive. And I don't mean just attractive by, it's also attractive in a romantic sense. That's not what I mean. I mean like a magnet.
Yeah.
It's attractive. You're going to get a positive person's going to get the job probably, right?
Yeah.
Over a negative Nelly.
Yeah, absolutely. They're going to see, reframe again, they're going to come up. It's a good experiment. Like walk into a room and just like, you get a gauge. You get it like, this person is someone I want to talk to.
Totally.
They exude some.
Like leaking charisma.
Yeah. Like that charisma. And again, sometimes it might not be so overt as, that's the life of the party over there.
Right.
It's just something about them that exudes this aura that has this positive piece to it. Like, you pick up on kindness. You pick up on the positive piece. So third piece is that lucky people, again, the adage of, making lemonade out of lemons.
Right.
When something does go down and there is a negative, like you don't get the job. You say something stupid in an interview, or you say something stupid in they don't beat themselves up. And Martin Seligman in his Learn Optimism
has
the 3 Ps.
I was just thinking.
Yeah.
Permanent, pervasive, and personal. But not in that order. Yeah. Personal, pervasive, and permanent.
So someone might say,
I was just thinking that.
Why did I do? Why is it always
personal?
Me. Why is it always happen to me?
Yeah.
And not having the kind of the understanding that you've got to move on. You've got to I said something stupid, and you figure out if you make a mistake once, you kind of learn you probably shouldn't do that again, right? So people have the idea that lucky people go into a positive situation. It doesn't work out as well as I thought.
Yeah.
Oh well.
It's not permanent.
Learn from it.
Right.
Let's move on. I'm going to take that as a learning experience. I'm moving on.
It's not about you.
Yeah.
It's not. I'm actually thinking of time to make this. I'm going to actually send you this woman's little short clip when we're done later. Loretta LaRoche, do you know her?
No.
She's a comedian out of Brooklyn, so listening to her is like a warm blanket and a cup of hot chocolate. Anyway, but she only does stress stuff, so she's hysterical. But with this pervasive, she does a thing on pessimism.
Yeah.
And pervasive or permanent, and she says the 3 Ps, and then she talks about, she does like this little imitation of that person at work, and we've all met them. Oh no, it's raining again. It's my day off. How come it always rains on my day off? And then she goes into this thing like, what is there, a conspiracy with the clouds? They picked you to just rain on your day off all the time. And she just did this whole funny thing about the thinking of that even the weather is, working around your thinking. Yeah. It's wild.
And the sad thing is there are people who can attract that. And if that's what you're looking for,
you're going to find it.
Those 3 Ps, pervasive, permanence, and personal. Those 3 of pessimism.
And don't we know people like that?
And there's a character on Saturday Night Live that does that too. Like brings down the whole group and talking about like she'll pick up the one, like that. So finally, the last piece, we have time to finish this.
We're good, yeah.
Is speaking of which, it's raining out now. Oh no.
But it's not permanent.
Yeah, it's not.
And it's not our fault.
It's
not about us.
It's cooling things down.
It's cooling things down.
Is this sense of intuition.
Yeah.
The gut feeling. It just feels right.
Feels right. You, me, and Oprah, we agree.
Yeah.
Green lights.
lucky people say, I'm going with it. This
I'm going
just
with it.
feels right, or, you know, it may not be the job I wanted, but I really have a good sense, a good
Something
feeling
feels right, yeah.
about it. So, you know, it is amazing about what the senses that our brain can cognitively pick up, but then the other subconscious senses that we detect. And we might logically say, no, 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 I've got to think this through. It's got to be, you know, I've got to make a right decision. And, you know, so many people I've talked to who logically go through, yep, it all adds up. Mm-hmm. This is the decision. But it doesn't feel right, but I'm going to go with it anyway. And lo and behold, there's some, yeah. So people have this intuitive sense. I just feel like I should fill out this raffle ticket. I got a good feeling about this.
I feel like I could stay a little while and talk to that person after the interview, because that other person I met, we had that feeling a lot.
Yeah.
It just, Oprah says it constantly.
Yeah.
You know if you're in the right, you know, calling wise, as far as what we're meant to, the purpose thing, I know we're going to get to, but we know our own authentic purpose when we know how it feels, too, right?
Yeah.
Similar, same lines.
But yeah, and again, the visceral feeling that you have, that your emotions, but you know, stemming from that intuition that go with your gut, you know. In Malcolm Gladwell's book Blink, we can pick up on that in a second. We know if it's a fake, or we know something is off, but we don't trust our brain. Our brain doesn't trust it. So it's kind of that holistic feeling of that, you know, gut and logical sense. So the four pieces of lucky people, you know, increasing chance opportunities and knowing how to capitalize on that, going into every situation with a positive attitude, positive feeling, it's going to work out. If it doesn't work out, learn from that mistake, move on.
And there's something better, maybe.
There's something.
Right. That's my thing.
Yeah. Thank goodness I didn't do that, because this new opportunity has come around. And then go with your gut. Now those are four pieces that everyone seemed to share in this research.
And they're all considered lucky. I'm a big gut follower. What's interesting, Tom, too, is you know, those of us in the psychology field, you know, we're technically not supposed to teach, listen to your gut as intuition. You think of the invisible gorilla, like, which actually I also teach, that famous experiment. There's a lot out there saying that the brain is so complex that, you know, dipping into the implicit memory, which is the unconscious memory, right? So we do talk about all that, and we do actually cover that book. And I still say to my students, off the record, on the record, whoever's listening, I would, the very few times in my 57 years of life that I have not listened to my gut, it didn't work out well. I'm a gut follower, like I'm in tune. I am in tune, like I'm like a little radar signal walking around directed by my heart. Yeah. And whenever I've not listened to it, it just hasn't, it's something has happened that was not good.
And it's a terrible feeling to know you're going down this, I don't know, I'm not trusting my gut, but it just, it doesn't feel right. You do it anyway. You know, again, learn.
You learn
from it, right?
And sometimes it takes, like Oprah says a lot, because I love to talk about her, that life keeps giving us quizzes until we get it. Yeah. So like, if we don't get that the first time, it's going to come around again, wearing a different outfit, again and again and again. Now the moral of the thing is, you know, she calls them the whispers. Listen to the whispers before they turn into bricks, and actually is what she says.
Yeah. It's
classic example, heart attack.
Yeah.
You know, all the whispers that's saying, oh, you shouldn't do that, shouldn't do this, and then boom.
Yeah, I think, and being able to take in all information from all levels. You know,
right.
From the you know, the senses, and plus, you know, that intuitive sense
thing
as well.
And the positive sense too, Tom. With the intuition, I know I've had this a lot, because we kind of came up with some, because that was in my head, because it's such an obvious example, the whispers and the bricks thing. But with meeting people, I don't even mean romantically necessarily, it can be that too, because I mean, how many people do we know who met their partners, and some like, oh, I can't believe I didn't wait for 15 more minutes, and then, or if I didn't miss my train, I wouldn't have, you know. Yeah. There's so many of those out there, and now they're married with 3 kids, or just happily, you know, whatever. But also the people who are in our lives that, even best friendships and things, that if we hadn't have switched colleges, you know, changed our choice at the last second, you know, I wouldn't have landed there and met all that stuff.
That's all synchronicity.
Synchronicity,
Right.
Totally.
For another topic, another day, another detailed topic.
Okay, so if you want to be lucky, you want to,
Increase chance opportunities statistically.
which makes sense.
Yep.
Throw a lot of duty
The
at the
more you
wall.
do it, the more you throw out there, the more that's going to come back.
Right.
Going into every situation with a positive attitude, thinking, with the mindset that things are going to be good, things are going to work out. I'm excited for this.
Right. Somehow.
Somehow, it's going to work out. If it doesn't work out, or you get dinged with a mistake, or dinged with a negative piece, it's that taking that as a learning opportunity and moving on.
Right.
File it away.
How do I grow from this?
How do I grow from
It
this?
sucks, but I'm going to be a stronger, better
Yeah.
person.
Just like Carol Dweck's, mindset,
Yeah.
growth mindset. I'm growing from this. It was a tough lesson to learn, but I'm
Right.
going to move on.
And if I put in effort,
Yeah.
that's why I love her. If I put in the effort, I'll change it.
Yeah, and you can harbor in those, wallow in that mire of negativity, and like, oh, why did this always happen to me again?
Right.
The pessimism. And then finally going with your gut, having that intuitive sense that just feels right. I'm gonna follow through.
Feels
It
right.
feels,
And don't you just know? I remember, well, definitely meeting my beloved husband. Also, for me, when we bought the house, the house we currently live in made no sense at the time with 5 kids, and I didn't want to go in there because from the top it looked like a 1-story, but I didn't know the whole house was built into a hill. So I was like, no, don't waste I didn't say all this, I'm not a rude person, but to my husband I was like, we don't need to, with little kids, the babysitter's like, let's skip this one. He's like, trust me, Kathy's the real estate agent, said blah, blah, blah. We walked in and we're still in it since 2001.
Yeah. But you had that
I just knew
intuitive gut feeling. This is
it.
Right
and then he laughed because the worst thing you want to do in front of a real estate agent before you seal a deal is to say, I've got to have it, I love it, I have to have it, which is exactly what I
So you're
said.
trying to be
2 feet. I didn't even see the whole thing because it just I felt like this is it. I could just picture us there. It was literally less than 10 minutes without seeing every room in the house. I knew.
That's confirming.
No, we had like 3 other ones to see. Don't need to.
Yeah.
How's that for a wave?
So confirming, but that's.
He's just standing there going like, oh my God, we should not. There went our haggle room. I knew we're still there. I never plan on leaving ever.
Wow, 20 years. That's incredible.
I know.
Yeah.
For a house I didn't want to look at because it looked like for 7 people not going to work. Little did I know there was a whole other.
Isn't that a good metaphor though?
Mm-hmm.
Like,
couldn't see it.
not going to work. But I couldn't see it.
But I couldn't see
because
it.
it was in the hill.
And I still didn't see it when I had to have it. I saw that there was something more bigger under there. We hadn't actually gone downstairs yet, but I knew there was a downstairs. I knew there was a downstairs.
Yeah, I love that metaphor. Because you can judge a book by its cover, right? Until you open it and you really understand
Oh my God.
what's behind that, what's under it, what are the layers that are behind
And
that.
I just-
Then you can see the whole picture.
And when you the house buying thing, you just know.
Yeah. But then you look at the reframing of that.
Right.
Oh no. Yeah, negative focus and negative.
Too small.
Yeah. No, I don't even want to go in.
You're gonna stack
No,
the
no,
kids
no.
on each other? No.
Yeah. But to understand that there's more to it, and there's a huge opportunity behind
Right.
behind those windows or that first floor.
Yeah.
Or whatever.
It's actually 3,600 square feet. You never
Gosh.
would have known that by the front. The
That's
front looks like, it was pretty, always pretty, but we had 5 kids under 10 then. So where are you gonna put them all? And she also said 3-bedroom. Like, how is that gonna work? The girls would kill each other. So as it turned out, there was actually, which I never would have known either, there was a 4th would-be bedroom. It just wasn't a finished bedroom. We finished that in like 3 weeks.
So have you shown your audience pictures of your house?
No.
God, do it.
Well, I mean, they see me walking around the deck.
No, you gotta see now you gotta see what
And they
people
see
were
me in the
talking
kitchen,
about.
yeah.
Well, but from the outside, so here's what it looks like.
It's wild. It's just wild, and he just doesn't. So it's just kind of. I should say it's a good metaphor for what we're talking about.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
it worked out. Lucky us.
Lucky.
So excellent. So maybe a part 3.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Keep it going.